important to note, vacation and living, they're two different things. Okay? So not because I came here to experience Canada and was able to buy a lot of stuff and go different places.
Exactly.
That's vacation. When you're living here, you're on your own, right?
Yeah.
So don't think, okay, I came here before and it was fun and now I'm coming back to go to school. Come on.
Yeah.
You need to make sure that you get that straight. Okay?
And then, I mean, like, so one more thing that I would want to emphasize as well with the immigration consultants that might be in Jamaica, like that you see posts on like social medias or Glean and so on. Like they make the process look so seamless because it's a business opportunity for them to get consultation right, for people to come to Canada. But in reality, sometimes it's not really as seamless as how they make it seem.
Yeah.
You know, and some people try to get their points. I remember, like all the time, we used to check the calendars and recalculating my points to see how much it is.
Because there's some tricky points in there too, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, and so you make a very solid point, Patrick, because you know if you only listen to them, it would seem like
so it's a 1-2 step coming to Canada is easy.
You
can move here and move with your family.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's possible, but it's not an easy road. Like there's gonna be a whole lot of anxiety, a lot of step work.
It's an investment on your life, and though this is one thing that I always say. It might not start good, but it gets there. You know, some people get there in a day, some people a year, some people 2 years,
5 years,
some people 5 years. You know, and don't be too intimidated, by others. I know Patrick mentioned it a lot of times, and Sonnet about looking back.
Yeah.
That looking back, it can make or break you.
Yeah.
And you know, a lot of times it does break you. You know, especially if for us we live okay.
Yeah.
You know, we lived okay.
Yeah, I mean, like I was on the social scene. I was partying in Kingston, going all these fancy parties and uptown events and everything. Like coming to Canada, we don't have those kind of events. You know, so it's like, and all your friends are back there. So sometimes they want to then make the right choice by giving up all those things to come here. You know, but I say that it's a long-term investment and it's good for your future family to come as well. So that's how I look at it. To prevent myself from thinking about the past.
I think we've given them a lot of information about coming here, preparing, to come and stuff. Is there anything else that you can think about, whether it's coming from your home country or being in Canada, that you absolutely wished that somebody told you about it? Like, I wish that they tell me this.
Well, I think that even though I did some research about, because my background is in pharmacy, if they had given me some more information in terms of how do you transition to becoming a pharmacist in Canada, and what are the expenses and the processes that you have to go through to be certified, then maybe that would have made it a little bit easier for me in terms of budgeting. You know what I mean? That was one thing.
But one thing we can say, it is a positive that I'm going to put out there, is that starting is hard, like starting over anywhere is hard. But, as Sonnet mentioned, you have to put yourself out there. Put yourself out there because, Sonnet is working now as a professor. Patrick is working in pharmaceutical, and I'm working in chemical engineering. And it didn't happen overnight, and honestly, those stories are for another time, another day, because we can go on and on about just mentality, because a lot of times we come and we're like, there's no way we're gonna get certain jobs, so why bother? You know what I mean? But if we never bother, then and resume preparation, that's I think that's one of the last points that I want to talk about. Is resumes in some countries are not the same as here in Canada. You don't put a picture on it, you don't put your age, you don't put your religious belief, you don't even have to put your hobbies. You know,
Yeah.
the structure, they are very picky with your structure. Everything needs to be aligned. If you're aligning it on the right, if you are aligning it on the left, you need to have certain things bold. Some certain things should not be in there. The job description needs to be full and fully explained, and you cannot have one resume.
That's right. So you have to tailor your resume for each job.
Every job.
You know, so not a generic resume for everything you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the beauty about it, for most courses, they offer that, what do you call it, resume
career
writing
development.
or career development, that they really show you how to do that part of it. So I think that's good that they offer that.
Yeah. I didn't really want to touch on this point, but in terms of we can just do it briefly, you know, to sum it up like really quickly. The transition from being a student, because at the end of the day, you need to know what you're doing. You know, coming up, you need to know what path you're taking. You know, a lot of people will say, come as a student and then get your PR. I've seen that in Gleaner back home. But that's really not the process. That's not even half of the process. So knowing the process, you know, and that process determines if you're choosing 1 year, 2 years.
You have to evaluate yourself, assess yourself to determine whether or not a 1 year suits me or a 2 year, depending. Again, there's little criteria again that they do perhaps don't tell you that you have to factor in, such as how old am I? Because age is a huge factor in determining your score, right? So at the end of the day, you're trying to acquire the score to get called for your pair, right?
And when she says score, what we mean by the score is you have like a online wait room, and to get, you know, anybody can join the wait room, but it's not everybody will be called for an appointment. Is basically what that is.
So you have to do your research too, because you will have a lot of people telling you a lot of things, right? So for me, when I decided, because I did my assessment before I decided to do project management, when I came here, I heard a lot of stories. I at one point became frightened because they were like, why are you doing a 1 year program? You should be doing a 2 year. You're only getting, and it can be, if you're not scared, you know, you may have a lot of, so you need to know exactly when you make that decision, you know exactly why you made that decision, you know, so you have to be firm about that. Another thing as well is, as I said earlier, you have to start preparing yourself from you enter, you know that this is what I need to do. You need to start getting your planning going so that at the end of the day you have, so it means therefore when you're through, you have to do your self-pip, you know, you have to get the right job. Those are things that, you know, you have to, those are on you. You can't blame anyone else, you know? So it's about being proactive, getting the requirements and ensuring that you meet those requirements at the end of the day.
Yeah. I'll add a link in the description box, you know, when I'm posting the video, just to show people what the score is, what you need to contribute to that score. Because I think that was a big, you know, point. Like a lot of persons need to know what do you need, so you know exactly what you're working towards.
Yeah, I mean, basically for me, I did kind of like have an idea as to what I would want to pursue first. So that's the very first thing. Like if you're gonna move to Canada, make sure that you have a concrete plan. Right, don't come to Canada and expect that, you know, things are going to flow in your direction like that. So make sure that you have a plan first. In terms of planning out my career path, like my idea was to do project management, and one of the reasons for doing project management was because I know that it's a niche area and a lot of companies are hiring project managers
at the time,
at the time, exactly. So I did my research and I did the market research, and I said, okay, having project management with a pharmaceutical background is a niche because a lot of pharmacists doesn't have a project management background, and to you know, make you more marketable, put you in a better position in terms of getting a job. So that was one thing, and that was one reason for choosing that career path. But in terms of, you know, coming to Canada, then you see that the market may be a little bit more saturated. with project managers because a lot of people come
Oh,
and doing project management.
Yeah.
So now I have to go back into my pharmacy field.
Yeah, right?
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
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 Well,
So I'm saying like things are not static. Like you come here with a preconceived mind, things changes. Like
You
the
have
pandemic
to-
came.
Yeah.
So that's even another
Yep.
YouTube video you can do on the pandemic.
Yeah.
Yeah, so with the pandemic, everything changes. Like people start working from home, like certain jobs that you could have done, like you can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
So
Flexibility. You have to be flexible. You have to learn how to adjust yourself. Because even with me, as you said, project management, I had my entire plan set out. Okay, business management, I thought that's okay. If I do this, I can start my own business. I started doing all that construction management in alignment with project management, trying to build to see how I can become an entrepreneur and everything. And when I realized, like, this is not for me, I have to go back to the drawing board. What next? Because this cannot be used for me. So now I have to go back to the drawing board to see what, and I have to be quick about it.
Right.
I can't delay because time is going.
You have to
and I have to.
Yeah.
So now it's about being flexible as well to know, okay, all right, what next? What can I do?
It's a very fast pace too. I think it's really fast paced. Coming from Jamaica for us, I think it's really get your foot on the ground and just you are running like Usain Bolt. You're not stopping. You get your foot going and you are going. The minute you stop is the minute things you start just dwindle down because it's a place where you just have to keep going.
yeah,
That's a good point.
yeah. So I mean, like you have to just continue going as you mentioned because you have to just keep your mind on your goal as well because you can easily get discouraged.
Yeah.
And with all that big investment that you have made, with all the money that you have spent to come here, you don't want to go back home and and be discouraged.
And you know what, faith without works is dead, right? So at the end of the day, we have to put in the work. We have to put in the work.
Right.
You know what I mean? And come here very confident. Come here, come out of your comfort zone and come very confident. But manage that confidence, manage that expectation in terms of, for example, once you are finished with school and you have to do IELTS, it's the English exam that you have to do, or CELPIP. Jamaicans, a lot of us will automatically be like, we're Jamaicans, our first language is English, so we are going to get very high scores.
Yeah.
It's not the reality for everybody. It's not the reality for everybody, And if you don't get high enough score, what that means is, your score is in shambles, to an extent because you don't know if you'll get picked in the next, in the next call. So, as I said, manage expectations is basically what we want to put out there and
Be humble.
Be humble. And it's not the glittery that there is a lot of glitter. There is a lot of glitter to this place, but for a lot of persons, the glitter does not start first year, second year. And manage your expectations, manage your spending, manage, what you portray to people, because it forces you to try to keep up with what you've been showing people. So I think that's one of the biggest things. I'm showing persons that, I'm strong in this and I left Jamaica and I'm better off. It makes you go overboard and stress yourself even more because then you are working twice as much to prove to everybody that I'm here when you're not. It's a journey, and for me it was a good journey because it taught me a lot. It taught me how to think on my feet, be quick, up, ready, and going. Know how to change. I came here, I wanted to do pharmaceuticals. In my chemical engineering degree, we did not cover a lot about pharmaceutical, application of chemical engineering in medicine. So that's something that I wanted to go in, from the get-go, pharmaceutical, whether it's cosmetic stuff, whatever it is. And I started with biotech because I think that was, they had a lot of pharmaceutical courses and it was a good starter for me. But once I got here, I don't know what happened with the job market. It's the same thing that we were talking about the other day where, just before it was, pharmacy, pharmacists they are now paying you that $30 an hour when it really is supposed to be 50, 60. And I think that's what happened with biotech at the time, where they want to give you $15, $18. You know, and in my mind, I had to rethink this thing. I had to say, okay, 1 year is enough. I've learned enough, but now I fell in love with this new thing called project management, and it's now time to flip my page and move towards it. You know, with project management, the course was full, and I wasn't going to hold up. You know what I mean? So it is also about pushing, knowing when to be flexible, like Sanet said, you know what I mean? And as Patrick said, manage your expectations, manage, you know, your money, you know, budget. If you're good at Excel sheet, or you know anybody, and like Patrick said, build an Excel sheet, you can go ahead and build an Excel sheet. We covered a lot. And I think this will be quite beneficial. And if there's anywhere in the video that you want to take a pause, just pause the video and listen to what we have to say. As you can see, it's 3 different perspectives. We came here from 3 different backgrounds, 3 different family type, 3 different everything. Like, I didn't know them, but the first time I went into the class, I know that they were both Jamaicans. But anyways, that's a different topic. But those are 3 experiences that we shared with you, and based on, you know, different financial backgrounds, different everything, and this is our outcome. You might hear something different. Oh, there was one question, guys, sorry, that I want to ask. It's a quick one. Do you think it's cheaper to come here as a student and then transition to becoming a permanent resident, or do you think it's cheaper to come here directly as a permanent resident?
Yeah, I think it would be cheaper to come here directly.
Definitely.
As a permanent resident, because you wouldn't have to pay a tuition or anything like that.
Right, and yeah. Go ahead, Sana.
Well, I think a lot of persons, yes, for sure it's cheaper, but which one is easier?
Right,
so
that's the thing that
so
people think about. You know, it's easier. But if you have the work experience, if you have the educational background, like a master's and a bachelor, and you can, you know, show whatever. I know somebody said it's more expensive, but I personally, and as you can see, everybody agrees, that's not true, because yes, you will have to show money when you don't come through a student way. You have to show money, but that money stays in your pocket.
Yeah, that is your money. That's not an expense.
Exactly. You're just showing them that you have that money. But if you come as a student, what that means is that
that money goes.
That money goes.
When you come here as a student, it's a big sacrifice.
That money goes.
A big investment.
That money goes. And there's things that we cannot do. We can't work for more than 20 hours and a couple of things. But like we say, guys, control the expectation, be confident, come and get out of your comfort zone. You can, you know, network with people on LinkedIn, like Patrick said from early out. You can connect with us as well if you want. I know they're on LinkedIn, Patrick Chandler and Sanet Douglas. You can reach out to them if you have any questions. I know a lot of people are not willing to answer some people, but we have been there, and we would like to help people as much as, you know, we would have liked help as well. And as you know, you can comment below, or I can share my email and you can reach out to me. Hope this was a very informative video for you, and thank you, Patrick and Sanet, for joining me on the channel today.
You're welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Okay.